Well, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Whoopi Goldberg, the unshakable queen of The View, the woman who has spent decades dishing out her unfiltered opinions with zero tolerance for dissent. And in the other corner, a rising conservative powerhouse, Karoline Leavitt, who just flipped the script and dropped an $800 million lawsuit on Whoopi and her View co-hosts that left the whole network on the verge of collapse. So, what went down to set the stage for this massive takedown? Buckle up, because this one's about to get messy. It all started like most View segments. Snarky, smug, and dripping with that signature condescension. The show's hosts were lounging in their familiar circle, throwing political punches and doing what they do best, mocking anyone who doesn't share their views. Enter Karoline Leavitt, a young, bold, unapologetically outspoken conservative voice who had been making waves in the political world.
And watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years. They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him consistently on their show.
And then Joy Behar couldn't help herself. She went straight for the jugular, mocking Karoline's rise to fame, brushing it off as nothing more than a result of her looks, and Trump thinking she's a 10. Yeah, she said that. No filter, no facts, just pure mockery. But it didn't stop there. Oh no. Whoopi Goldberg, with that sharp wit we all know too well, chimed in next. She claimed that Karoline's entire career was a product of wokeness. And then came Sunny Hostin, landing the final blow, branding Karoline's success as nothing more than white privilege. The co-hosts thought they were just having some fun, throwing jabs while the cameras rolled, and the audience laughed along. But they didn't count on Karoline flipping the narrative and proving them all wrong.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
What I'm saying, this is the first time that she's been she may be. But my point is that job would not maybe have been open to her.
No, I understand. I just wanted to clarify.
Instead of jumping on Twitter to fire back with an angry rant, Karoline Leavitt played her cards like a chess master. While they kept mocking her on air, Karoline was behind the scenes quietly preparing for the biggest legal battle of the year. She wasn't about to let their words slide. No, she came back swinging. Just days after the segment aired, Karoline's legal team dropped a bombshell, a defamation lawsuit for a staggering $800 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $800 million. The lawsuit wasn't just targeting Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny, but ABC itself, calling out their reckless defamation, intentional character assassination, and a systematic pattern of media bullying aimed at silencing conservative voices. And just like that, The View hosts, who once thought this was all just a joke, were suddenly scrambling behind the scenes. ABC executives went into full-blown crisis mode. Legal teams, emergency meetings, frantic phone calls. This wasn't just a minor PR hiccup. It was an earthquake threatening to shake the entire network to its core. Karoline had proven she wasn't just looking for attention. She was dead serious. And now, with that $800 million on the table, ABC executives were forced to face the very real possibility that this lawsuit could bring down one of the most iconic daytime talk shows in history. Suddenly, the tables had turned, and the hosts who once mocked Karoline were now worried about how far this thing could go. So what happened behind closed doors at The View? Well, let's just say it wasn't pretty. Whoopi, the unshakable queen of daytime TV, was reportedly furious when she found out ABC was considering settling the lawsuit. After weeks of mocking Karoline, Whoopi now felt betrayed by the network she helped build. She wasn't just mad at Karoline anymore. This was personal. Her legacy was at stake, and she wasn't going to let that slip away quietly. Joy Behar wasn't exactly cool with it either. Word on the street is she stormed into the dressing room, throwing her makeup bag on the vanity and yelling about how The View built the network, made millions, and now they were going to throw it all away over a lawsuit from a conservative voice. She wasn't about to go down without a fight. And then there's Sunny, the legal expert of the group, who had once been so confident the lawsuit would be tossed out, suddenly realized the gravity of the situation. With her background as a former prosecutor, she knew how damaging a public trial could be. Every offhand comment, every edited segment, and every piece of unflattering footage would be on the table. The stakes had just gone through the roof. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The same women who had been mocking Karoline for weeks suddenly switched their tune live on TV. Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny, who had once laughed off the lawsuit, were now trying to play the peacemaker role. They had tried to mock her, belittle her, and dismiss her, but now they were the ones on the defensive. Whoopi started with a softer tone, suggesting that maybe it was time to reduce the hostility. Joy, who had dismissed Karoline's lawsuit as a joke, now tried to play nice, suggesting they could sit down and talk. And Sunny, the supposed legal expert, was now trying to broker some sort of resolution without going to trial. But here's the thing, viewers weren't buying it. This wasn't about a change of heart. It was about survival. It was about saving their careers and protecting their public image from a PR disaster that could ruin everything they had worked for. The sudden flip in tone didn't fool the audience, and the backlash was swift. While the hosts scrambled to cover their tracks, Karoline Leavitt's supporters took to the internet in full force. Social media erupted with memes, sarcastic comments, and accusations of hypocrisy. The same women who had mocked Karoline for weeks were now being torn apart by fans for their desperate attempt at damage control. Karoline didn't just stand up for herself. She stood up for everyone who has been unfairly attacked and bullied by the mainstream media. Her fans were all in, rallying behind her with hashtags like #JusticeForKaroline and #MediaAccountability. The internet wasn't just watching this story unfold, they were living for it. And this, my friends, is where the real threat lies. Multiple insiders have confirmed that ABC is seriously considering whether The View can survive if this lawsuit goes to trial. We're talking about the possibility of The View being cancelled. That's right. After years of dominating daytime TV, the very future of the show is in jeopardy. Sponsors are getting nervous. Advertisers are pulling back. ABC is in full-blown panic mode, and executives are quietly putting together exit strategies just in case the lawsuit makes it to court. The fallout from this could be massive, not just for Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny, but for the entire network. But let's take a step back. This lawsuit isn't just about money or revenge, it's a message. Karoline Leavitt is sending a clear one to the media. You can't keep attacking, mocking, and belittling people without consequences. And what's even more interesting, this case is setting a precedent for others. Celebrities, influencers, and former guests of The View have started coming forward, sharing their own stories of mistreatment by the network. Karoline lit the match, and now the fire is spreading. Whether or not The View survives this legal battle is still up in the air. But what's clear is that this is the beginning of something bigger. The era of untouchable media giants mocking and silencing voices they disagree with. It might be over. So, what do you think? Is Karoline Leavitt doing the right thing by holding The View accountable? Should the network be held responsible for what they said on air? And if this lawsuit succeeds, could it change the landscape of daytime TV forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest on this wild, unfolding drama. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned.